Good evening, class. So we'll start with polity and governance ka current affairs. The topics are bulldozer justice, World Opacity Atlas, 16th Finance Commission, Niti Aayog and JICA cooperation. Last is your nucleic acid test or NAT. You're writing? Oh. Done? Last one is Supreme Court to examine feasibility of nucleic acid test for blood transfusions. Done? First one is bulldozer justice. First I'll explain the concept so it will become easier. Let's say this is a building, okay? This building is having lot of houses. You know, now for example, let's take Bangalore. So many buildings are there. So many flats and apartments are there. Now what has happened means, actually this issue is happening in Allahabad High Court is showing issue. I'm just giving one example. Someone, the builder, okay, who has built it. Now what has happened, someone has raised an FIR against this guy. As soon as they raised an FIR on this guy telling that no, he has not constructed properly or any issues on him, your municipality went and demolished your entire building itself. Understanding? Now the question Allahabad High Court has raised is, mistake this guy did. What mistake did all the people living here do? Immediately, how can you just go take bulldozers and break down those buildings? So, for a punishment of one person, you are punishing the entire people. Where is it fair to punish communally? That is, an entire community, how can you punish for his mistake? Allahabad High Court has also told that your Supreme Court and High Court have told earlier that as soon as an FIR is launched, FIR means, okay, you have to still investigate. As soon as an FIR is launched, if you do this, then that means like he is guilty. You are assuming like that, but true justice is what? Innocent until proven guilty, which means FIR is lodged, now he has to go in front of court. Court will determine. How are you only determining this? Why are you doing the work of your judiciary? This is overlap of power. This is what your judiciary is telling. Look at this. Allahabad High Court has raised concerns over your bulldozer justice. And Supreme Court and High Court have also held that punitive demolition violates due process of law. Which means before even the judiciary decides, you yourself don't decide what the punishment should be. Because judiciary is the one to punish, not executive. Now, what is the meaning of this bulldozer justice? Statement kind of questions they can ask. In simpler sense, extrajudicial action. They should not have been doing this, but they did this. Who? The executives. Who are these executives? It can be your municipalities, okay, or let's say your state government, whichever body it authorizes. Understanding? So, what is bulldozer justice means? Any person's house, shop, or any other buildings of the accused person are demolished. This is called bulldozer justice. And most times this is happening without proper legal procedure. Understanding? So, this is seen as instant punishment, which is considered wrong in India. There is no concept of instant punishment. That is what your Allahabad High Court is trying to tell. We'll move ahead. Now, what does the constitution tell with regarding to your bulldozer justice? First and foremost, if at all there is a question of law, let's say an FIR is raised, investigation has to happen, the matter has to go to trial in front of the judge, and then only punishment has to be given. But now what is happening from here, directly it's coming off to here. So the in-between processes are getting affected. Now, which fundamental rights protects a particular person's right? If you see, first is Article 21, right to life and personal liberty. In the starting I gave you an example, no? In that entire community, if you just tell, okay, I'm let's say destroying this building, where will they go live? They would have purchased that land from him by putting all their life earned savings. What will happen to those people? They have also told right to life means also right to shelter and right to livelihood. Sudden demolition will lead to disruption of a community, or it will lead to homelessness. Where can those people go? Understanding? Next, other rights. See, earlier Article 31 was right to property, but after your 1978 44th constitutional amendment, they removed it from fundamental right and made it into a legal right. So according to your Article 300A, right to property is a legal right, which means you cannot take away someone's property without due procedure of law, which means legal procedure, arbitrary demolition. If a person has lawfully bought a land or he is living somewhere legally, just because someone who built that did a mistake, you can't go demolish that entire thing. Or arbitrary executive action should not be there. Next is Article 14. Article 14 is right to equality. So recently what Allahabad High Court, starting pay I told you, also held that was, see, let's assume there are 6 buildings. All 6 buildings have had violations from their builders. But this particular building is owned by one community, majority community A. This is also owned by community A. This is also owned by community A. This is also owned by community A. All 6 have same violations. But this is owned by B, this is owned by B. What we are observing is, they are demolishing buildings only belonging to certain communities. If you are going to do that, then do for everyone. Why didn't you do that? Because you were selectively demolishing based on particular communities. This affects right to equality. Understanding? Done? This is the concept of collective punishment. Initially I explained, if everyone in that building houses, if you demolish because of one builder, how is it fair that everyone is getting affected because of him? And also, family home demolition leads to punishment of innocent members, children, age-old people, midnight pay, where they will go, where they will stay. Okay, so this will also violate Geneva Convention. What is Geneva Convention? It prohibits collective punishment. Mistake of one person should not affect the entire community. Also, ICCPR, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, also tells that you should protect people against arbitrary deprivation of property of people. Done? Understanding? So basically arbitrary action should not be taken is what they are trying to explain. Supreme Court November 2024 gave some guidelines. First and foremost, what it told means, if an FIR is lodged, immediately you shouldn't go and demolish anything. Second thing is, let's say they have built some property on public land. That time you demolish, not an issue. But if on a land which is legal, not a public property, they have built and someone has raised an issue on him, then don't go and demolish it. Another condition is, if the court itself tells go demolish, then only you should demolish. And huh. And most importantly, use the demolition as the last resort. Don't go to it in the first instance itself. That is what your Supreme Court guidelines are. Yeah? Yeah, Allahabad High Court ka. And also what happened is, your Supreme Court has told, while you are going to demolish it, you have to give them, let's say this is a private property, but they have did considerable amount. Let's say they have built on lakes, okay, they have built on park roads. In this case also, immediately don't go demolish their building. Give them 15 days notice. 15 days notice should go to them through your speed post. And after that also, while you go, you should record the entire thing before demolition. You have to go tell them that so and so has happened, every single household has received this, and then you have to do the demolition. If not, whichever civil servant is involved in demolition, he has to pay for the damage in his salary. Understanding? These are all the guidelines your Supreme Court told. Yes, yes. What are the exemptions? Encroachments on roads and streets. Many people will take off your public land itself. No? In those cases, you can demolish. Structures near railway lines or encroachment on rivers, water bodies, or if demolition is ordered by court, then you can go demolish. All these instances, not an issue. Apart from this, you can't do. Now river would be there, it has dried up, you will go build right in that. Done? And also, previous Supreme Court cases they have held few things. In Menka Gandhi versus Union of India case, judiciary held that if government is going to create a law, that law must be free, fair and unjust. Understanding? Unjust in the sense, it should not create injustice to anyone. It should be a just society leading kind of concept. So this is where they established the concept of due process of law. Next, in Olga Tellis versus Bombay Municipal Corporation, they said Article 21 right to life and dignity includes livelihood and shelter. So you can't just demolish any building arbitrarily and expect that they will keep quiet. Last is KT Plantain Private Limited versus State of Karnataka. Property deprivation must follow fair law, which means if government is going to purchase someone's property also, they should act in a fair manner. Simply they can't come and tell, I'm government, give me your land. Understanding? KT Plantation. Done? So what and all can we do in order to prevent your bulldozer justice? One is your UN guidelines. What is UN guidelines telling? First and foremost, no punitive actions, which means just because someone is defaulted or someone has, okay, committed a mistake, entire community cannot be punished. That is called collective community punishment. And also no punitive forced eviction, demolitions. Forceful evictions cannot be done. Ensure rehabilitation of displaced. Now people who have lost their homes, make sure some arrangement should be there. Next, from proportionality principle, this is what I told, demolition must be the last resort. You shouldn't first and only go and demolish any buildings. And use demolition only when the structure itself is dangerous. Like I told you, if they build it near railways, if they build it near river bodies, because anything happens, that building will collapse. Or if they have built on some fault lines, or when the structure cannot be regularized, which means the materials used in that are so much so that anyone who lives there have any chance of demolition, that itself will collapse. In these cases, use demolition. We'll see one possible question from this. With reference to bulldozer justice, consider the following statements. Demolition of a property of accused without proper legal procedure. Is what called bulldozer justice? Correct. It is based on the principle of presumption of innocence in criminal law, which means this is the one thing that your court follows. This is the one thing that they didn't follow. What was the example I told you? In that case of Allahabad High Court, when I was telling, the building was constructed even before any case used to happen, one FIR was filed against that guy. Immediately they went and demolished it, not even seeing whether he is actually innocent or not. FIR was raised, demolish his building. So, presumption of innocence was not at all there here. This is wrong. It may raise concerns regarding violation of Article 14 and 21. Yes, bulldozer justice, that too especially I told you, selective demolition. That and Article 21, eviction, forceful eviction of people violates both these articles. Correct answer is 1 and 3 only.
Means the option what it is saying, the
third one, no? Bulldozer justice violates Article 14 and Article 21. Done? In the sense, if you do bulldozer justice, Article 14 and 21 of people are getting affected. Next topic is World Obesity Atlas 2026. Okay, first I'll explain what is the objective here. 3 countries in the entire world facing huge number of obesity. And not just obesity, but also they are facing obesity in children, especially the ones from 6 to 14 years old. And also this has led to increased concepts of diabetes, hypertension and other lifestyle diseases. Good evening, online class. Namaste, online class. Done? So, this particular report, World Obesity Atlas, was released on World Obesity Day. When is World Obesity Day? On 4th March. This showcases that there is a rapid rise, keyword is rapid, severely increasing obesity in India, and largely on children and adolescents. 14 to 18, 6 to 14, it is increasing on a higher level. Understanding? This World Obesity Day, when is it? Right now. Next. This report was published by World Obesity Federation. What are they focusing on? How obesity is there throughout the world. They are using data from WHO and they are releasing it on your World Obesity Day, which is on 4th March. What is the definition of obesity means? World Health Organization has told abnormal or excessive fat that is accumulated in human body. Now they are calculating this based on BMI, body mass index. If your BMI is above 25, you are considered overweight. Okay? But if it is above 30, that is obesity. Clear? Childhood obesity is using certain percentiles. 75 percentile, 80 percentile, 90 percentile, 95 percentile, which means for their age, for their height, how much is their development. Children, no, you can't just put them in height weight. You have to see lot of their development also. But for adults, 18 plus people, BMI is what we are sticking to. Now, what are the findings of this study means? China, India, USA, highest obesity, and also in obesity of children, it is highest. First position is China, second India, third USA. In here they are considering children means somewhere from 5 to 19 years. We consider it up to 18 years. 10 countries are amounting to the largest amount of obesity. First China, second India, third USA. Done? Now, with regarding to India, your 5 to 9 years of children are almost 15 million children are overweight or obese. Why? Almost per day, every day, they have about certain ml of sugary drinks every day. Now, with regarding to 10 to 19 years, 26 million are overweight or obese. Why? Your exposure to your fast food or junk food. Overall, 41 million children are having higher BMI. In the childhood itself, if you get obesity, lifelong you will have lifestyle diseases. What are the issues that we will get? Hypertension, hyperglycemia, your sugar, diabetes, high triglycerides, cholesterol, and MASLD, which is nothing but your fatty liver. Organs will be filled with one layer of fat. 2025 pair, this is the growth rate. How many people are suffering with this? But if you see for 2050, everything is almost increasing, and in some cases it's doubling. Understanding? It is not on the reducing. Actually, we have taken a pledge to reduce it, but we are nowhere in the concept of reducing. We are all in the group of increasing. So, why the adolescents are having this much of obesity is physical inactivity. They are not getting adequate amount of physical exercise, stress, screen time, poor nutrition, and for infants, 32.6% of infants have suboptimal breastfeeding. They are not getting adequate mother's milk. Okay? Sugar consumption in children has become extremely high. Clear? Now, if this goes on like this only, by 2040, throughout the world, 507 million children will be affected by your obesity. This is an extremely alarming rate and this will lead to severe heart diseases. So what are the recommendations? First and foremost, on any kind of sugar sweetened beverages, increase tax. Now in this budget, have you seen they've increased tax on your your cigarettes? Like that, for this also increase tax. Next is ban junk food ads which target children. Okay. Control digital marketing of junk food. Promote physical activity and improve school food standards. Schools has to first tell no junk food should be allowed. Understanding? Next is encourage healthy diet because of poor nutrition as a challenge. Promote and create awareness regarding good breastfeeding practices. One government is already doing is MAA, Mother's Absolute Affection, to make sure that breastfeeding is done at least for 6 months. Early life interventions, which means prevention is better than cure. Make sure you will reduce these numbers. Next, what is the BMI classification in adults? If you are less than 18.5 BMI, again BMI is calculated over weight, height and age. Okay, based on your age, what height, what weight you are. Less than 18.5, underweight, 18.5 to 24.5, 9 is normal, 25 to 29.9 is overweight. Obesity by different classes. The last one is extremely obese. Understanding? BMI for children, that is like I told, no, percentile for their age, for let's say in certain children, 2 years, 3 years, these kind of children, because their body and your organs, head circumference, all of this is constantly growing, you can't just take height, weight and age ratio. You have to see their how many weeks they are, or how many months they are, or how many years they are. For that, how much is their growth rate, how much have their organs grown. Understanding? Based on that, you will calculate in percentile. Below 5th percentile is underweight, 5th to 85th percentile good, 85th to 95th overweight, 95th percentile and above overweight. That is obese. We'll see one possible question from this. With reference to World Obesity Atlas, consider the following statements. World Obesity Atlas is released by World Health Organization. Very good. It is not released by World Health Organization. India has the second highest, largest number of children with high BMI. First is? The report was released on World Obesity Day. Correct options are 2 and 3 only. Next is 16th Finance Commission report. Done? See, this is a recent report. Finance Commission ka report is not binding on the government. Also, this is suggesting what should government do with regarding to sharing of money from 2026 to 2031. Previously, we had 15th Finance Commission. Now, there will be lot of economic terms here. We will not enter into economic terminology. We will only see from polity perspective. First and foremost, your 16th Finance Commission has told, now all the money will come, na? In all that money, 41% of money should go to states. The same percentage was told in 15th Finance Commission also. this is important, you have to make the changes. 15th Finance Commission also told 41%, 16th Finance Commission also told 41% for states. But how much states are demanding means? They are demanding 50%. Okay. Your Finance Commission has told usually cess and surcharge is not coming under divisible pool. Divisible pool means all the money which is put together and in that center and state will divide money. Okay, let's assume this is divisible pool. 100% of money is there. In that, assume like center will take this much, state will take this much. Apart from this, there is something called surcharge and cess. This money is not added here. It is separate. That directly goes only to your center. Your Finance Commission has told if center is ready to put cess and surcharge money also in the divisible pool, then you take lesser percentage, less than 41%. Why? Because the money here is very much. If they add this money and in that if you are taking, it will be much more than the percentage you are getting here. This they have suggested. It is not mandatory that central government has to accept this. Understanding? Cess is another type of tax, that is like, let's say, if you have to add for road development or for your education, okay, that time you will add extra money. Yes. Surcharge also similar kind only, okay, but where it will come means is an additional tax, tax on tax. Okay. State's share has become unchanged, same as 41% only. Okay. Now they have made some changes. What changes we will see? First and foremost, we will see about Finance Commission. Static concept this is. Article 280 of the Constitution speaks about Finance Commission. It is a constitutional body with quasi-judicial functions. What does Finance Commission do? Tax distribution between center and states. It also recommends grant in aid to states. It is set up at the end of every 5 years, or if the president deems it necessary, they can create it even before also. And also, the president is the one who appoints Finance Commission. One Finance Commission, that is one chairman, 4 members. Also, the same members can continue. They are eligible for further employment in the same position. It is a constitutional body. Done? What are the recommendations? First and foremost, states के लिए 41% share only. Same thing was told in 15th Finance Commission also. States asked 50%, you know that. Remember I told you, if the center is ready to add cess and surcharge, you take lesser percentage because that money will be much more than what you are getting now. But this is not exactly the something that center will agree. Center doesn't like that. So, it is not binding on the center. Next, they have brought about many changes. If a particular state is being given some money, let's say Karnataka state has got 300 crores from center. It will not be 300 crores, it's much more. Example I am telling you. Karnataka has got 300 crores. Your Maharashtra has got 500 crores. Now technically there should be a question as to why that fellow is getting more money. Because they will allocate money based on lot of things. First they will say how much is the population, how much is the demographic performance, which means how much are they trying to bring about family planning operation. Because if let's say population is more, you have to provide government hospitals, you have to provide government schools, for that money is again needed. For forest and ecology, areas which have lot of forest, you need to maintain them. Because at the end of the day, all the forests are nationalized. your reserves, national parks, ecology, all this conservation is from the government. So they have to give additional budget. And what is the area of it? If it's a bigger state, you need bigger amount of money. Okay. And contribution to GDP. This is a new feature that they have added, which means how much are the new states, that is these states, contributing to GDP. For example, now Karnataka tells, I am the silicon city of India. I am generating 30,000 crores. You are giving me only 3 crores. Let's say Maharashtra is generating for you only 1000 crore. You are giving him that much amount of money. So this also they added, contribution to GDP. Higher your contribution, higher we will give you the money. Okay. This was how it was in 15th Finance Commission and 16th Finance Commission. The same attributes, okay. Only the last one is changed. Contribution to GDP concept was not there before. It was added only in your 16th Finance Commission. Now, grant in aids. Again, apart from the money that you are giving, how much more money you can give to some states because they have certain issues. Let's say some state ke liye flood happened, or some state pe your Naxalism happened, some or the other issues happened. For that, some additional amount also you should be giving. That also they will be suggesting, okay. For certain local bodies, how much you will give, numbers are not important for you. How much you should give to panchayats, how much you should give to municipalities, and also how much Finance Commission is telling for your disaster management grants, right? Now, which place is affected highest? In that, how many lives ke liye what and all we are supposed to do? All those put together. Now, these are the new grants. The previous one we saw, they have always been giving that, there is nothing new. New grants means urbanization grant and infrastructure and disaster management grant, which means, let's say, for sanitation, waste management, for these kind of things also now they are allocating money in order to make sure effective urbanization is there. Understanding? Urbanization premium grant means for urban areas with high growth. High growth is there means these also have to be maintained. It becomes very difficult for them to maintain with limited budget, so additional grant to do these things. For your infrastructure, again for disaster management, that is, let's say flood happened or earthquake happened, all the infrastructure collapsed, road collapsed, you have to rebuild those, for those kind of things. Next, they have suggested do this. What is that? Center maintain your fiscal deficit by 3.5%. Okay. End of budget borrowing. Off budget borrowing means budget pay you would have told I want money for so and so things. You will spend it off, but that is not sufficient for you. You will further go raise loans. You will borrow from other states, banks, etc. everything. That you remove, you are not showing it in the budget. That also show it in the budget only. Off budget borrowing means apart from budget you are taking money. That you are not showing in your deficit. Show that also. Okay. Next. How are they telling that center and states can improve their financial condition? First and foremost, power sector. States have claimed that the most loss-making asset for them is discoms. What are those? Your electricity distribution. That is causing too much loss for them. This is where all of their money is going. So, give them an option to privatize this discoms. If you privatize this discoms, the private companies will keep it even more effectively. Second thing is, the budget load on the state will reduce. Understanding? Next is subsidy rationalization, which means reduce inefficient subsidies. Do not try to give subsidies to people physically, because if you give, now let's say government is around 250 rupees, I'll give. The middleman can keep 50 rupees in his pocket and just give 200 rupees to people. Lot of corruption chances are there. Instead, directly put it to people's bank account. Whatever government money you're going to give, put it to people's bank accounts. How will you do that? Through JAM Trinity, Jandan, Aadhaar, Mobile. Next, bring about reforms and transparency. Public sector pay. What is it? Public sector enterprises pay. There are 308 inactive companies. They are not at all running, but still you are maintaining that. That maintenance cost itself is draining you. Close it off. Bring transparency as to why you are still running closed companies. Completely close it off, leave that. Understanding? And show how much of transparency is witnessed by closing all this. This will make sure burden on you also will reduce. Next, what are the issues? States wanted 50%, but your finance commission gave only 41%. Limits states' fiscal space for spending when they told don't do offshore budgeting or offshore borrowing. That is, already they don't have enough money, that is why they are going and borrowing. Now if you tell limit that, then it becomes difficult for me to spend. Next is cess and surcharge not a part of divisible pool. As of now, cess and surcharge is not divisible. Growing cess reduce effective share for states and also shift towards richer states via GDP criteria. Remember I told you will allocate funds based on GDP contribution. So only states which are giving more GDP like your Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra will get more money. How about states who are poor? Okay, considerably poor. For them you should do much more, no? For education, for your employment and all this. That time it will become difficult for redistribution of funds. This is what they are claiming. Let's see one possible question. With reference to the 16th Finance Commission, consider the following. It recommended state share in divisible pool remain at 41%. Correct. 15th Finance Commission also same, 16th Finance Commission also same. It introduced contribution to GDP as a criteria in horizontal tax devolution. Correct. Contribution to GDP based on states. Vertical means center and state. Horizontal means among states only. It recommended merging cess and surcharge into divisible pool. Recommended only, it still didn't happen. No? So this is correct. So 1, 2 and 3. Next is Niti Aayog and JICA cooperation on SDG. Done? So, Niti Aayog and JICA. JICA means Japan-India Cooperative Actions. India and Japan are coming together and they are investing money for going towards phase 2 of Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah. How do we know that? Because they both signed a record of discussions. What is record of discussions? These are the topics where we will have to be spending money to improve towards your sustainable development goals or a healthy, holistic and sustainable living for the present and future. First and foremost, in which areas are they trying to create sustainable development goals? In this means global partnership between India and Japan, health and nutrition, education, agriculture and water resource, financial inclusion and skill development. Last is basic infrastructure. Okay, these are the 6 areas that they have held that they will be spending the money to create SDGs. Okay, we'll move ahead. Writing right now. Which are their focus areas? First and foremost, institutional and capacity building. One example I'll tell you. You have heard of this term Ayushman Bharat. It is somewhere to provide health facility to the people. Recently they also started with your insurance. Now, let's say there are a lot of discrepancies. Discrepancies means in the record, in the official record, it is showing that a particular person A has received a lot of medical supplies in his name. But in reality, he is not at all going to the hospital nor getting this. Why? Because he is dead. He died in 2018 only. But 2025 you are telling in his name. This records of your medical bills, saline bottles, hospital room all are booked. Which means there is lot of mismanaged data. Your beneficiaries are being benefited by using someone else's details, which eventually is what? Issue for the government, corruptions. All this will happen. So first, whatever you are providing, even if it is limited quantity, provide that in the best way possible, or efficient government services. Efficient means what? Reducing corruption. Okay, efficient government service delivery, strengthening government institution, improving policy implementation, better SDG monitoring system, data driven governance, which means you make sure any of the changes that they are doing, real time data you monitor it, ask them why certain data are mismatched and also hold them accountable for that. Okay, specifically or on and on governance topics these are. How can you make sure that yes, we are spending money in all these areas? No, that is going to lead to better results means people to people exchanges, or first and foremost spread awareness. Second thing is capacity building program between both these institutions of India and Japan. Niti Aayog is a think tank like that for your Japan also. Japan India knowledge forums. Now your Japan will have a lot of inventions. They will try to share that knowledge with us. So how can we improve our health, our nutrition, this kind of things. Next is sharing the best practices. For example, if you see the children, midday meals are provided in India or otherwise called as school lunches. School lunches are provided in Japan also. But if you see Japan school lunch, it is one of the most healthiest school lunches. The food that is provided is so proper for a nutritional diet, and also Japan showcases the children first that how their food should be prepared and eaten. For them, food becomes a very important part of their culture. The same thing it should be done in India also. SDG localization and aspirational districts means you have to bring this to the local level, teach it to the people, for students, then spread it around. Not top to bottom, bottom to top approach. Next, why is Japan doing this with us? Because Japan has always been our long friend, old friend, who has also helped us in our ODA. ODA is Official Development Assistance. Apart from having bilateral relations, It will invest huge amount of money to create infrastructure in India. For example, the concept of Delhi Metro came into us is because of your Japan only. So this concept of development assistance started from 1958. Japan is India's largest bilateral donor, which means it's okay if you don't have money to bring these changes, I will help you out. Okay, I will put the money, I will put the infrastructure, I will teach your people how to do it, I will employ your people. Now this supports 84 plus projects. Which areas? Transport, energy, water infrastructure. India and Japan in 2025 held that joint vision for the next decade. In 2025 they together discussed and gave out the plan for next 10 years. What they will be focusing on? Economic cooperation, technology, clean energy and infrastructure. Done? In that, Japan has told, I will invest 68 billion, okay, in India. For what? For improving these developmental projects. And also, in the next 10 years, in the upcoming next 10 years, 6 ODA loans will be signed. 6 ODA loans means that much amount of money I will bring into India. ODA is development assistance. Okay. How much value? 11,181 crore rupees it will bring into India. Understanding? For what? For infrastructure and sustainable development projects in India. They also have agreed for bilateral swap arrangement, which means it's okay, you don't have to pay me in dollars, you pay me in your currency only. Because our 91 rupees is $1. Understanding? So, many countries what they try to do is to reduce the burden, they will swap their currencies. This is what is called currency swap. We'll see one question from this topic. With reference to Niti Aayog JICA cooperation, consider the following statements. The project aims to promote cooperation for achieving SDGs in India. It focuses on aspirational districts and aspirational blocks. First bring it to the basis, then to the top. So bottom to up approach, top approach. See, it said it focuses on this. There is no word which tells it focuses only on this. Understanding? So this is also another important thing. Japan has been India's largest bilateral donor since 1950. So all three are correct. Last topic, nucleic acid test for blood transfusion. Done? So first I'll tell you the background, what happened. Recently, many children, okay, died. There is one condition called as thalassemia. India is called as the capital of thalassemia. What is this thalassemia means? Your body cannot produce hemoglobin. It cannot produce adequate amount of hemoglobin. We have to be there means blood has to be there. Blood has to be there means hemoglobin has to be there. This is not there for these children. So what is the cure for thalassemia means? Constantly they have to be given blood transfusion. Because their body cannot produce hemoglobin, you have to give them physically blood injected to their body which has hemoglobin. Okay, these are children we are talking about, young children. After this, many children died. Yeah. Okay. Some children did not die, but they contacted severe issues. What are those issues? Why did that people die when it was looked about? Many children contacted HIV. Why? Because the person who gave the blood had those things. Had that blood been tested properly, today innocent children would not have died. So these were preventable deaths.
But they will check and only they will give.
They will check in one way where that will not signify for all of these. HIV, syphilis, AIDS, all of those will not be checked in the things that we do. The test what we do is because in many a times the test that we do does not get detected at all. Understanding? Properly you have to detect HIV, syphilis, AIDS, all those means you have to conduct nucleic acid test. Only when you do this, you will instantly get to know that whether, because most times it's not that people didn't test, they tested, but that test pay it will show us negative. Okay, the issue is not with the doctor, the issue is the test doesn't show many a times. Now, a person has raised a PIL in court telling that the death of these children is very horrible. Or people who contracted this now lifelong, their life is that much only. Always they have to be on some 10 years, 11 years kids. So this is something that we can prevent and they getting harmed by this, and if they belong to low income group family, what is their scenario then? So we have to make it compulsory to bring nucleic acid test is what PIL has been raised. What Supreme Court has ordered means do an intensive study on nucleic acid test. Find out how much cost it will happen. Give me entire detail about how effective is this in determining all this HIV, AIDS, syphilis, everything. First thing. Second thing, if we have to make that compulsory in India, how much will it cost us? Every single detail give me, Supreme Court has told. Okay, this is why we are looking into this news. Supreme Court asked Union government for details on cost and feasibility of NAT, nucleic acid test. Why? The PIL, a person raised a PIL, no? They have told mandatory NAT testing should be there in all blood banks, wherever we donate blood. Whether be it mobile blood bank or physical blood bank, everywhere you should have mandatory NAT testing, because you have a right to receive the even right kind of blood. Yes or no? Because of that one thing, people have got affected with transfusion transmitted infections. Transfusion means blood transfusion. Through that transmitted infections can be avoided. Usually for thalassemia affected children, this is very, very horrible, and if they come from your BPL or LIG families, that is even more detrimental. Your PIL, public interest litigation, has argued that safe blood is a fundamental right. You are giving blood transfusion is because maybe accident has happened, something has happened without that person issues, and in that he has to receive safe blood. So they have held that right to safe blood should be part of right to life under Article 21. This has to be done under your Drugs and Cosmetic Act of 1940, because where the blood screening and all is done means it is through this act. Presently what test we have means serological test like ELISA. This sometimes has the possibility to not even detect these issues. Okay, I read on the last one. We have ELISA test, but in India mandatory or compulsory NAT is not there. Done? It's a test to detect your HIV, AIDS and all those. Done? Okay. What are the transmitted infections that will happen through your blood transfusions? HIV, hepatitis, malaria, syphilis, all this. Your NAT can detect these infections much earlier and in a more effective manner. Why? Because for the other ELISA test, you have to wait up until your virus or something interacts. This it does way before that itself. Again, why? Why this is important? Because of thalassemia crisis in India. India is thalassemia capital, reduced hemoglobin production. The patient require blood transfusion every 15 to 20 days throughout their lifetime. Understanding? High cases of these transfusion transmitted infections was found in Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Uttar Pradesh. All the children who received this contracted HIV and hepatitis. No mistake of theirs. Done? What is nucleic acid test or your nucleic amplification test? It is a molecular diagnostic technique where the viral genetic material in blood is detected under your RNA and DNA. Okay. It is not mandatory in India as of now to do NAT, but the PIL has raised, let us make it mandatory in India.
It's throughout India, then why this only these states are
No, recently the cases when they found out, this states they found this. It is not that every time a person gives blood, it is all affected by HIV or hepatitis. But that sample was detected here. Okay. So, serological tests versus NAT. Why NAT is better? Because they take longer period and they base it based on antibodies. Comparatively, your NAT goes directly for your DNA or RNA. It is early detection, it is very slow, gradual detection. What is the window period of this? Your traditional test can only detect antibodies after few weeks. They just take it within few hours. Okay, whereas your NAT detects much more higher, which means the period of time also matters here, because it is the life of so many children involved, right? So NAT reduces window perception for HIV and hepatitis. This makes blood transfusion safe. What are the other benefits? Early infection detection, prevents transfusion transmitted diseases, identifies false reactive samples. This is what happens in your ELIS. Even if someone is affected with it, most of the times, okay, in these cases, it has reacted, no, there is no issue. Okay, prevents unnecessary discarding of safe blood. Sometimes when they find out, yes, this test has held that there is HIV, in reality it might not be there. That time they have to discard the blood, they will not use that blood. Okay, so improves donor counseling. Most times the donor himself will not know that he or she has that disease. So through this they will get to know. What will happen if you bring in NAT? That is how your Supreme Court has told. It will improve blood transfusion. It will protect high risk patients, that is your thalassemia affected people. It strengthens public health infrastructure, and right to safe healthcare under Article 21 is protected. We'll see one question from this. With reference to nucleic acid amplification testing, consider the following statements. It detects viral genetic material such as DNA or RNA. It reduces the window period for detecting infections like HIV and hepatitis. It is currently mandatory for all blood banks in India. It is not mandatory in India. So correct answer is 1 and 2 only. Okay, with this we complete today's current affair topics. Any doubts so far? We'll end the session then.